5:21. For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his goings. You know, as men, we wonder where life will take us. But if we seek our eyes, our mind on the Lord, we won't have to wonder. The one who needs to guide us will be leading us. Okay, Joshua 6, verse 8. Verse 8 through 11. Joshua 6, 8 through 11. Okay. Joshua 6, 8 through 11. Okay. And it was so that when Joshua had spoken unto the people, the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of rams' horns before the Lord passed on and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. You know, the ark symbolized God's presence. It was symbolized by the ark following them, that God was behind them in this act. He was there for them. First of all, God told them to do this, but it symbolized God being there for them. Sometimes they'd go into battle and the ark wouldn't be there. They wouldn't take the ark with them. That's because they never consulted God to think of taking the ark with them. But this symbolizes God is behind them in their actions. It's important. While we won't see an ark following behind us, we won't see an angel or anything like this. It's important for us to do what God wants us to do. And when we do this, regardless if we can physically see anything, because we won't, we need to have Him behind us. Not necessarily saying we're leading the way and He's following us. He should be leading the way, but being behind us as He's supporting in what we're doing because He's leading us to do it. Sometimes He wants us to step out in faith, and that's exactly what they're doing here. They're not going outside His leadership by the ark being behind them. God is supporting them. He told them what to do, and it's time for them to do it. He's the same way with us. Sometimes He lets us know what we need to do, and until we do it, we're in disobedience. But when we do it, He's going to be behind us all the way, because we're following His leadership. Okay, verse 9. And the armed men went before the priest and blew the trumpets, and the rearward went after the ark, the priests blowing with trumpets as they went. Now, trumpets were blown for war, but they were also blown for acts of worship. The fact is, this was war, but God told them to do this. So it was an act of obedience. It was an act of faith in the Lord. So by doing this military tactics, really it was them worshiping God, by them claiming the land that God has given them. They're taking the city in the name of the Lord. While its military might, still an act of worship to the Lord. You know, as Christians, we're compared to soldiers. That doesn't mean we're here to go out to find a battle. If we're doing what we need to do, the battle's going to find us. And in the fight, to bring the glory to the Lord and praise. And by fighting that fight with Him and by Him, it will be an act of worship to Him. Verse 10. And Joshua commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout nor let your voice be heard, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth, until the day I bid you shout, then ye shall shout. Wise counsel. Sometimes we may want to speak up, but it's better we remain silent. Sometimes we think it's easier to speak at one time, but God wants us to keep silent. Because God knows when we need to speak up. Sometimes we may speak up too soon and it'll turn people away. Sometimes we speak up too late because we don't listen to God. And too late. God knows when we need to speak up. Voice when it's best effective. Sometimes we ain't gonna be received, and it's best effective to teach us something. But He knows. And we're to speak up as He leads us to. Verse 11. So He caused the ark of the Lord, this is referring to Joshua, to compass the city, going about it once. And they came into the camp and lodged the camp. So he's following God's instruction. This is just one day. He doesn't just do it once. The story goes on. They go about it once. Don't say nothing, just march around the city and go back to camp. Sometimes God will lead us to do things we don't quite understand why He's leading us to do them. But we're to follow and be obedient regardless. He leads us to go march around the city, not saying a word. That's what we need to do. Sometimes God will have us do something to get our attention or to get someone else's attention. Oftentimes Him using us to do something that don't make sense to us is done for that purpose. And then marching around the city would get the attention of Jericho. We can't say necessarily what He's going to do with us. What this strange thing He may have us do, what the point of it is. But we're to be obedient because He knows what He's doing. His will is greater than ours, and we should be submissive to His will regardless of what it is, in spite of how we may perceive it to ourselves.